jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world combat sports. Talking way too much, world combat sports. Talking way too much, world combat sports.
Yo, shout out to the hottest chat in MF and game. A-Side official. No negotiations needed, period. We back with another one in 2025. We got to get to the ones that's hot. You know what's taking over? They was criticizing, crying, and bitching and whining that Lamont Roach wasn't qualified to step in the square with Tank. Now, they are the most talked about duo in the sport of boxing right now. Man, this has turned into a viral riot. You have people talking from all angles and all different parts and corners and crevices and alleyways of this boxing community. People are coming out the holes, you know what I'm saying? The molehills, dumpsters, old cardboard boxes, trees, abandoned vehicles. Man, it seems like everybody is chiming in on a fight where they was like, oh, it's not going to do numbers. He's bringing them up for 130. Well, guess what? This should be a perfect example to y'all who sit up here and dog the shit out this fight, pissed all on it, and now it's the hottest topic going right now. Nobody's talking about the fights that was in Riyadh. They're talking about controversy. They're talking about Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach. Steve Willis, one of the more qualified referees, hosting over 230 professional bouts, to his referee ledger. He himself is caught up in the turbulence and the whirlwind and the eye of the storm and all those freaking inclement type terms you can use to say, oh shit, so-and-so got some explaining to do. They got some explaining to do. Yeah, people used to joke around, you know, about Steve Willis and how his eyes look and all that. He's actually a comedian. He does stand up and all that. Actually a good guy. It's not that he didn't see the knockdown. It's that the call that he made, poor judgment. The call that he made has people up in arms. But I always say, where there's a will, there's a way when it comes to these third men in the ring. We've seen it. Tony Weeks. We've seen it. We've seen this play out before. But to the fight fans, the fanatics, the radical fight fans that was up here dogging Lamont Roach out as if he wasn't shit to boxing. I mean, they dogged the shit out of Roach. They treated Roach like his last name in a dirty ass apartment with the lights off. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. They try to treat Lamont Roach's career like when you flip the lights on and you find out, God damn, we just don't have to worry about the smell up in here. Look at all these roaches. When are they going to clean up? Y'all was just damn shitting all on Lamont Roach's name, and he went in there and performed pretty damn good due to the circumstances, right? But it's a lot of information that is coming out, and y'all, it is the first of the week, And I'm pretty sure there may be some historical changes happening. It depends on what the system is going to say this week. Okay? Now, for those of you that's tuned in, let's go to Ariel Helwani. You know what I'm saying? Via the Boxing Voice. And let's take a listen to some audio. Okay? Let's take a listen to some audio of him speaking to a commission. Okay? Listen up.
Took the knee. What do you say should have happened?
Well, that should have counted as a knockdown. And Steve Willis started to count.
Yeah.
And he said something odd to Gervonta Davis as to, well, that looked like a knockdown. He's not a PR person. Like, oh, just do your job.
Yeah.
You know, Steve is overall has been a solid referee. I don't have a problem with him. But he just didn't do his job there. I mean, that's you know, and there should be some consequences to that. Like maybe he takes a little breather and, you know, because he's taking a lot of criticism here, and it's not easy for referees who generally are instructed not to speak to the media. So he's not going to be able to give his perspective unless he goes against protocol, which he probably wouldn't do because it would cost him assignments. So we're not really going to hear from him, but we should hear from Matt Delaglio, the executive director of the New York State Athletic Commission.
What do you think should have happened once Tank took the knee? What do you say should have happened?
Well, that should have counted as a knockdown. And Steve Willis started to count.
Yeah.
And he said something odd to Gervonta Davis as to, well, that looked like a knockdown. He's not a PR person. Like, oh, just do your job.
Yeah.
You know, Steve.
That is going to be the conversation that we already know as fight fans. Man, we're not naive to this. You know what I'm saying? We're not new to this type of stuff. This guy's talking about Steve Willis should take a vacation. Tony Weeks didn't take a vacation. What are you talking about, take a vacation? Tony Weeks did not take a vacation. We have had referees who show up and they fumble the call, or they somehow, some way are put on notice for dereliction of duty. When you're in front of the lens and you are a controlling authority in that ring as a referee, I mean, the amount of responsibility that you have to have. And you talk about the fighters having timing. The referees definitely have to have timing. They have to be vigilant and very much aware to the attention and detail of the two fighters, especially in a championship fight. In a championship fight. You understand me? In a championship fight, your head have to be on a swivel. You know what I'm saying? What about Richard Steele? He went through controversy. Did it stop him from refereeing fights? Was that the last fight he ever ref when he was in there with Medrick Taylor and Julio Cesar Chavez Sr.? Huh? Tell me. I want to know. That was Ring Magazine's Fight of the Year right there. More so because Medrick Taylor gave us a performance almost similar to Lamont Roach yesterday, that people had him winning the fight. Now, I didn't have Lamont Roach winning the fight. I was proposed a question. What do you think if the knockdown would have been called? Who you think would have won? I cannot once again give you that scenario-based answer. In hindsight, when they always say it's 2020, but for me, it's all about a situation that I can't control. Because, perfect example, when Crawford was told he was behind on the scorecards, he shut it down. I have to give Gervonta Tank Davis the very same credit. I have to say, if he was told that this was going to be a knockdown and Steve Willis continued to count, I don't know how he would have reacted once he entered into the 10th round. We don't know. I don't know. No one will ever know. All we are doing is answering, arguing, debating We're doing troubleshooting, brainstorming. We're doing narrative adjustments. You know, it's almost like we're playing a board game. You have all these people that's trying to get together and trying to figure out something that they cannot have influence on happening again. You can't go back in time and say this would have happened if Tank would have, if Steve Willis would have continued to count on that knockdown. We can't. All it would be based off is assumptions, hypotheticals, what ifs, what about. We can't do that. That's not credible, because all it is based off one's thought process, how they're assessing 1 through 9, and based off a fighter's resume and footage that they have out there, to assume, putting that together with how we seen the fight play out with Lamont Roach, and they try to basically crochet this narrative. Well, Lamont Roach was doing well all the way up to the 9th round. So I'm saying if that knockdown would have been counted, then therefore he would have still been able to control the fight to the final. But we don't know that. We've seen Tank knock out Gamboa in the 12th round. We've seen Tank's power transfer over to the 12th round. But neither here nor there. I'm not trying to inspire no new fans to do some troubleshooting. You know what I'm saying? To really buckle down and stop getting so stressed over something you cannot change. Now, there is going to be some new information that I'm going to talk about on here. That's going to make a lot of non-Tank fans extremely happy. Okay? A lot of Tank fans. But I must ask this question to Steve Willis. Did you get the orders, my friend? I have to ask, did you get the orders? Because you're too experienced to allow a fighter like Tank to halt, to have some type of authority over you. You're the third man in the ring. Even though you're not contractually signed to GTD Promotions, at least I don't think so, you yourself started the count. Brother, if you never would have started the count, this wouldn't even be a topic of conversation. If you didn't see it, if he took a knee and hopped back up, then it'll be a whole nother situation, right? Entirely different situation. Let's go to this right here. You know what I'm saying? To boxingscene.com. Okay? Let's go to boxingscene.com because this ties into the technical difficulties preventing real-time review of non-knockdown. All right? So, let's see what the technical issues were. A timely ringside review of Gervonta Davis taking a knee in the 9th round of his fight with Lamont Roach, which referee Steve Willis did not call a knockdown, was not possible because technical difficulties prevented the New York State Athletic Commission from seeing the footage back in time to make a call. Speaking of back in time, that's all I'm trying to say in the most sane perspective. There's no way we can go back in real time and into the minds of these fighters to know how the rest of the fight would have played out from the 10th to the 12th. But it's very, very easy for us to assume when we look at the fluidity of how Lamont Roach was performing inside the ring, in there with Gervonta Davis, many people are going to carry forward his performance value to the very end of the fight and say he would have won. That's simply not the case. That's simply not the case. There's going to be a buttload of verbal jousting going back and forth because people could not help themselves all of a sudden they want to start making up these names for fight fans who support Tank. I said, look at here. Now all of a sudden, Tank is the villain, right? Because they was already shitting on him. Now Tank is the villain. And y'all know so much about, what he didn't do in the fight and whether he was honest about some grease or something that came into his eye. Now y'all coming to the aid of Lamont Roach. Imagine that, y'all. Imagine these individuals coming to the aid of Lamont Roach, who they was stepping on this guy every single time they had a chance. It was a frenzy listening to these guys on the panel prior to that fight. When it was February, oh man, they was doing everything possible. They had Raid in their hand. They was just spraying all over the place. They was treating that dude so bad. Let's carry forward. Boxing Scene contacted the New York State Athletic Commission for comment, and they sent back a statement through the Department of State Press Office explaining that due to the delay, they proceeded with Willis' call in the moment and continuing to review the situation. Okay? Continuing to review the situation. At this time, the New York State Athletic Commission is reviewing the matter involving Saturday's matchup between Lamont Roach and Gervonta Davis. During the round in questioning, following the commission request for the replay video, there was a technical issue preventing the commission from preventing it within the allotted time for review. Just let that sit in your spirit right quick. All right? Let that sit in your spirit. At this time, the Athletic Commission of New York is reviewing the matter involving Saturday's matchup between Lamont Roach and Gervonta Davis. During the round in question, following the commission's request for the replay video, there was a technical issue preventing the commission from receiving it within the allotted time for review. So what does that say? What do y'all think is going to happen? Is it fair? It's just a question. Is it fair for them to go back for a call that they missed in the ring and have any type of adjustment to the decision? Is it fair? I just want to know. Do you think it's fair? Let me bring something else up to you. All right. Okay. because look, this is not the first time we have had controversy in boxing. Okay. This is not the first time. Y'all remember this fight, right? Let me do these screen grabs right quick. So, check this out. Y'all remember this fight, right? With Michael Fox? I'm pretty sure y'all remember that, right? Michael Fox was in there with Gabriel Maestre, a fighter who was 2-0, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Let me verify that. The reason why I'm bringing up this fight is because, in my opinion, it was way more controversial than Lamont Roach and Gervonta Davis. They're not even in the same ballpark. Way more controversial. Michael Fox, 24-4, 5 knockouts. He was coming off a loss to Luke Santa Maria in August 2020. In August, just a year, 2021, he stepped in there with Gabriel Maestre, 3-0. 3-0. He would drop Maestre in round 2 and would go on to dominate. The fight, only to find himself on the back end of the scorecards. Not just on the back end of the scorecard. When I say on the back end, I mean the end of the scorecards that's on the shitty part of the stick. Why do you ask? Because the system of boxing, the judges. If it's not the ref, it's the judges. I always said that. You all have heard me say that. It's always that way. It says dropping Maestre was a big deal, said Fox, of Upper Marlboro, Maryland, who trailed 119-108 in power shots. I landed the cleaner, more eye-catching punches and made him miss, but landing that punch felt really good because last year I had broken the same hand. Fox was confident of the victory when the judges' scorecards was read. David Singh, John Mariano, 114-113 and 115-112 from Martinez Rizzo. Let me repeat that. David Singh and John Mariano, 114-112 and 115-112. And Martinez Rizzo was 117-110, y'all. Does that look familiar? The 117, the wide margin of a bias from a judge that was never going to give Michael Fox any type of credit. It goes on to say, the first 2 scores seem a little close, said Fox. A late replacement after Canadian southpaw Cody Crowley. Y'all know Cody Crowley, right? Okay. Cody Crowley pulled out with COVID-19 diagnosis. But 117-110 seemed a more appropriate score for me to win, especially when they said winning by unanimous decision. But Fox was wrong. And when the ring announcer stated, and still undefeated, he felt as if he had been knocked out, since it meant he slipped to 22-3, 5 knockouts. And the 34-year-old Maestre improved to 4-0, 3 knockouts. Fox said, I was in disbelief. I looked at my corner and they were all upset, said Fox, who was summoned and consoled by Lewis during a private meeting before leaving the venue. Lennox Lewis, that is, people. The first thing he said was, bro, you won that fight. To have one of the best heavyweights singing your praises was just what I needed because I was still pretty upset. All right. Lennox Lewis told Michael Fox that he believed he won the fight. He told Michael Fox that I believe that you won the fight. That right there was a way bigger injustice than a Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach. They're not even close. Not to mention, y'all, that Michael Fox will later go on to submit a petition to have the fight overturned, to have the decision overturned due to him clearly dominating Gabriel Maestre in his fight. Clearly. And the one judge having a 117-110 margin when Fox was the one who knocked down Maestre in the second round. No. Don't even trip off that. That's just a little bit. That's a little bit of the lemon juice. Okay. We can go back to before the fight even started. Gabriel Maestre was caught cheating, y'all. Maestre was caught cheating by what is considered thumbing the glove. What they did was thumb the cushion away from the knuckles to the wrist area and tape the glove. That is to keep the padding away from the knuckles. So, of course, when he went in there to fight, his punches would feel a lot more effective and hard due to them manipulating the padding. Now, they didn't remove the padding from the glove because that would have been even worse. But what they did was manipulate the padding from the knuckle area down to the wrist area. The referee, let's go to the referee. The referee, Mark Nelson, seen it and requested that they redo the gloves. They re-wrap his hands and change out the gloves. He caught it. He caught Gabriel Maestre cheating. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because this is about Lamont Roach and Tank Davis. But what I'm trying to do is bring pacifiers to all these haters who's up here hoping and wishing that Tank Davis gets a 1 on his record. I'm not going to tell grown-ass people to stop doing this and stop doing that because, goddamn it, you can do what the hell you want. I'm pretty sure some people still pissed off on the way I was rubbing freaking Crawford's win in the Errol Spence fans' face and Deontay Wilder. I'm pretty sure they mad. I'm pretty sure. I mean, granted, you know, my supporter Jahad Tucker all the way over there had people feeling some type of way down here. For what? You support who you support. And I understand why certain people want to all of a sudden build up a coalition to go up here and talk about the Tank Davis fight and how much of a travesty it is. In boxing, they need to stop that. Clearly, Tank Davis, he lied. He was exposed. He was this. Yeah. We've heard that before. I've heard all the exposure. You know what I'm saying? I've heard all of it. I've heard all of it. I've heard pretty much anything and everything that we have discussed on here, whether it be on a panel, in sidebar conversations. I've heard it. It's all good. So let me take you to another one. Okay? I want you to listen to another piece of audio. Okay? Don't worry about what you see on the screen. Okay. What you see right here is Gervonta Davis with his first draw on his record. All right. What does this say? Currently, as it stands, the decision was that Gervonta Davis, the champion, drew with Lamont Roach. Okay. And there's some behind the scenes back and forth, like I said before, some friction, some intense conversation of people, this verbal sparring intensively based off something that happened on Saturday. They're mad because a fighter that they didn't support. Once again, this is how the people come together. They rally for the wrong reason. And they feel exhilarated too if they get just a little bit traction from this shit. But they're happy that something may be in review so that the fighter that they was hating on loses to a guy that they was shitting on. They're not happy for Lamont Roach. There wasn't even Lamont Roach fans. They was all I was hearing. He lost to Jamel Herring. 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 That's all you kept hearing and repeat. It's almost like a record being scratched. That's all you kept hearing. They kept on saying the same shit. They wasn't coming to the aid of Lamont Roach. They was the insurgency for Tank Davis. They wanted to see him, who they believe has cut corners and not fought the best competition. They want to see him take a first L. Now, we can go back for a short window to April 20th, from where we did see a reversal with the Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. But that was different due to a violation of testing that happened prior to the fight. What we have witnessed with Steve Willis and technical difficulties that night, they wasn't able to freaking review. Okay? In my opinion, my genuine opinion, boxing should keep the same energy. Because when Michael Fox petitioned to have that fight overturned and reversed, they denied it. And Michael Fox freaking robbery was a legitimate heist. That shit right there was a legitimate robbery. This right here is not a robbery. We're talking about Prime. We're talking about the broadcasting. We're talking about the freaking members in place, the role players, all the ones that are staff. We're talking about the qualified staff, bro. They are qualified to be there. How can you have a situation where there was technical difficulties and you wasn't able to get a hold of the replay at the present time? No, I don't believe that. I believe that the decision that played out that way for a reason. It played out that way for a reason. Tank volunteered his knee to the canvas. Okay? Now, there's nothing in the ABC, okay, when you're looking at boxing manual, that says if a fighter volunteers any part of their body other than the soles of their feet, the referee's discretion will be to deem it a knockdown or not. You're not going to find that passage in there. It's not on TAC 22-44. It's not on Appendix Alpha Bravo TAC 667. You're not going to find it. You're not going to find it in the index. The benefits of voluntary taking a knee. You're not going to find any type of information that says the referee shall and will take in deep consideration of whether he calls it or sees it as a knockdown to proceed with the count. That's not there. It clearly states that if a fighter, other than the soles of his feet, touches the canvas, either from a punch, because people up here talking about, oh man, Lamont Roach landed a punch. He landed a punch, but not a punch that I saw that hurt Tank. You know what I'm saying? When have you seen a fighter like this? Just go back to the Ryan Garcia knockdown. The second one, when Tank hit him to the body, it was a slight delay reaction, but he went down because of the body shot. You know, Lamont Roach hit Tank up top, right? He didn't seem like he stumbled, you know, he was shaking up and all that. But clearly he took a knee. Now, my point of reference is there had to be some type of controversy to basically sell the rematch, y'all. Listen, this is where it's going to get a little bit distorted for y'all because, you know, they'll say WCS over here talking shit. Some people rock with me heavy, real talk. But I'm only giving you the quirks, man. I want to give you the quirks of listening. Because you say you follow boxing, but you don't. Every time someone tries to provide you a multi-square, a rectangle type of theory in the sport of boxing based off history, you have to respect that there's information out there that we line up, we align, and we compare. And we do all deductive reasoning that WCS always mentioned. We do all deductive reasoning to bring forth evidence to formulate a conclusion. This is no different. Tank voluntarily took a knee, and there was technical difficulties for them to hit the replay. Do I believe it should be overturned? Absolutely not. Because boxing has shown us over and over, time and time again, that they are all about the orders. Look at the thumbnail. Boxing media would never have the answers. They focus too much on reporting lies, gossip, and biased narratives. Fighters don't respect it, says WCS. They don't respect it. And this is no different. People are gathering. They are meeting at the rally point to come up with all this disdainment because they felt Tank Davis, a fighter that they don't like, got away with it. I get it. But this is going to break your heart, right? When it comes down to what you perceive as deception or the system of boxing, once again showing us the hocus pocus of boxing, do you think this is something that could have been prevented? Sure. The sport has been in existence too long not to prevent something like this from happening. Now let's get to the grandiose scheme of it all. There's been a tug of war over there in Riyadh season to get Tank, and Tank basically holding ground over here saying, I don't have to go over there. I've heard and seen people put out media talking about we're missing Fort King, we're missing the Fort King, we're missing the Fort King. And then we turn around and hear people talk that shit. They turn around and say, well, if Turki Al-Sheikh has the money and it's not going to affect him either way, why is Tank even going over there? What's the purpose? Just to appease someone that's not considered a higher authority for the U.S. citizens? Why would Tank go over to the Riyadh season? People are saying, oh, he don't want to go over there, he's scared and all that. Tank has been on record as saying that why should he go over there? He makes money over here. They have to go over there because they don't make the money I make. But peep this, for those of you that's grumbling. Check this out. Was Tank right or wrong? He was absolutely right. You know why? Because Shakur is on record. He's on record with Cigar Talk. He's on record. He is on record. It's saying, I made the most money over there than I made in my entire career for a fight. Once again, Shakur is on record. Shakur Stevens is on record. And there's nothing wrong with what he said. I'm just putting it out there that he has been on record, recorded, admitting that he made the most money in any of his fight over there fighting in Riyadh season. So now we go back to Tank. Tank's mentality is, I don't need to go over there just so they can rob me. Just so they can rob me. I'd rather stay over here because they need to go over there. They're not making the money I'm making, but I am over here. And he had a great point. Now it brings us to the battlefront. What is going to be the insinuation of the promotion? What is the insinuation? Tank being the face of the PBC? Was this something that was purposely done? Did Tank speak too soon? Because Lamont Roach said, hey, they're not going to give you the fight. They're not going to give you the fight no matter what you do. Did Tank speak impulsively? Did he set his own trap? Is somebody going to be offended? Is somebody trying to teach Tank a lesson? I don't know. To be honest with you, when I have favorite fighters, I don't sit up here and say, well, that'd be fucked up if they overturn. This man clearly took a knee. You think I'm going to be upset if they overturn the fight due to the circumstances that we have seen when the conclusion and the numbers was read, right? What do you want me to do? I'm not going to sit up here and be upset that Tank is no longer defeated. He took a knee. It wasn't somebody that came in there with a rugby outfit, running in the ring and tackled Tank. He took a knee for whatever reason he selected to do so. So the results that may hit him this week or next week, if the New York State Athletic Commission deems it a reason that they should overturn, because we just seen the Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, but what we know about that, it was quite different. All right? That was really different. But what I'm trying to do is access the reservoir where we can look at this logically. Let's look at this logically and where boxing has been for the last decades with the hocus pocus and corruption. We can never say we can't go off the past. Just think about this. How can you be affected or influenced based off something that you never experienced? If someone tell you something for the first time and you've never really had to understand cognitively to process what that truly is, how can you react to it? Can you react positive or negative? No, I have no awareness of what this is. I don't know. Clearly, I have never had an experience or encounter. I never had no prior knowledge of what you're presenting to me, so I have no reaction to it. This is what I say about those who don't want to go back in the past. As boxing been around for decades, you have to go back in the past. No matter how much you admire the sport, you have to go back in the past and compare similar situations to what we have here. Why? Because it's a reason why boxing is continuing to give controversial decisions and results like this to fight fans. Now, it may touch fight fans different who are casuals, other than the hardcore fanatics that's out there, the aficionados, the ones that's been covering the sport on a regularity. Their schedule is different. But we cannot approach this and say, we need to look at it for what it is. No, boxing, the system, individuals who's been a part of it, generation after generation, have been participating and demonstrating this type of outcomes for a long fucking time. I will speak in general about what I seen and what I suggest by dichotomizing as much as by slicing it as much as I possibly can. I'm not going to just say, let me process this just because it was a draw and Tank, he didn't get he got the non-knockdown, call. If he would have got that, what would have happened? I'm not going to tell you what would have happened with the scorecards being the way they are. Because the world, we're not programmed. We don't have the essential technology to take a mass full of people, only the ones who support boxing, whoever they may be, and take them back in time to the 9th round, 2 minutes and 18 seconds, and then say, okay, boom. Steve Willis, he continues to count, regardless of what Tank says to him. Once the count is done, the round finished, blah, 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 and then you go back. We don't know what Tank would have done from the 10th to the 12th. But it's easy for people to say, well, he would have won that fight if he would have got. You can say in hindsight all you want. Do y'all know? Do y'all think that it's possible that the judges could have screwed over freaking Lamont? I mean, we just seen Michael Fox clearly beat Gabriel Maestre, but all three judges unanimously gave it to Maestre when Michael Fox won that fight. And they submitted paperwork to have it overturned and was denied. His petition was rejected. So that's another scenario that I have to put up there. We don't know how the judges would have graded if Tank would have got a knockdown and went to the final bell. We don't know if it even would have made it to the final bell. let's get to the second part of this. Okay. This is Ariel Helwani. And I thought this was a pretty good piece right here. This is strictly audio. Okay.
His eyes. And you know what's crazy about this? This is almost exactly a year to the day where Amanda Serrano couldn't fight in Puerto Rico. I remember I was there because she said that the product that they put in her hair went into her eye and she couldn't see. Now,
you hear that? I remember that day. Y'all remember that day when Amanda Serrano was supposed to fight? And she came out apologizing to the people and said, I apologize. This has never happened. And she said she had some product come out of her hair. Now, wasn't her hair braided too? I'm just saying.
All this happened before she couldn't even make the walk. Tank made the walk. And apparently there's an account out there of someone who claims to be the person who worked on his hair, who said that since she did his hair, he worked out, he weighed in, he lost weight, blah, 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 and nothing happened of the sort. Now, all of a sudden in the 9th round, he's saying that his eye is on fire and he can't see. I don't know if it bothered him. He didn't say if it bothered him afterwards.
Let me explain some things when people, not so much, you know what I'm saying, poking or inserting pins in Ariel Helwani. I know he was just quoting what somebody might have said about, well, he did this, he worked out, did this and that, and nothing happened. That's all speculation and hearsay. But what happens when you're in a boxing ring in a match? Sometimes whoever's in your corner, like we seen in the Russells, Gary Russell was taking water and pouring it on the top of the head of his younger brother, Antoine. He was pouring water on his head, and that water was dripping off his face and everything else. So it's impossible for this to be absolutely true that his eyes was burning. It's impossible because you have so many people that's hell bent on running a torchlit parade because they feel the Tank is not facing the toughest competition.
But it seemed to have bothered him right in that moment, and then he gets his face wiped down and whatnot. The knee hitting the canvas is so important. I remember watching Floyd Mayweather versus Shane Mosley, and we had never seen Floyd's knee hit the canvas, and it seemed like ever so slightly it was about to hit. And why was that important? Because it would have been ruled a knockdown. It would have been the first time in his career that someone would have scored a knockdown based off of a punch. It didn't happen because he missed it by that much. These things are important. And so for this to just be kind of wiped off, I don't know what happens, because let's be honest, appeals very rarely work in combat sports. Sometimes
I agree with that. Appeals don't work. But we know they do work because we just seen the overturn of Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney due to substance violation. You know, appeals, they work every now and then, but not to a higher percentage that fighters will be considered, what fighters will consider it to be effective course of action that they want to take. You know what I'm saying? You have to basically put the retainer up. You have to get the paperwork together, get with your legal team, and make sure they read accordingly, pay attention to detail, and submit the paperwork. So potentially you can get something overturned, but it really has to be something that is has all the evidence. You know what I'm saying? Clearly, simply, this is not right. It has to have the evidence.
there's a little bit more there's a little bit more success in boxing, but we all know, we've been doing this for a long time. We've been watching for a long time. They are almost impossible to win. Lamont Roach has an incredible case here. Now, today they've been going back and forth on social media. In the immediate aftermath, Tank Davis said,
so let's talk about the back and forth just a little bit, right? Okay. Lamont Roach, amongst many other tweets, is feeling himself. And he should be feeling himself. He should. Come on. This dude went the distance with a knockout artist. Only 2 other fighters had went the distance prior to Lamont Roach. Lamont felt that he did enough to win the fight. His people felt the same. He said, word round the block, y'all favorite fighter finna be 30-1, not 30-0-1. 2-time, 2-division champion. Do WCS feel some type of way? Hell no. I always said Lamont Roach was a good guy. He fought a good fight. I just didn't seem like it was genuine on Tank's part. Something else was going on. But I can't take away that Roach, Lamont Roach, went in there and did what he was supposed to do as a fighter. Should he be on here talking this shit? Yeah, why not? Gervonta Davis, they took the fight from me and made it a draw because I did that bullshit knee. Now, this has been since deleted, of course, but if you know, you know. You screen grab that shit. But I landed the most punches in the fight. He didn't even hit me with the punch when I took the knee. I get it, though. I should have. Hold on for a second. I shouldn't have, rather. There's so many tweets that's out there. I started to go on the thread. And I said, no, I'll save that for another live. You know what I'm saying? I'll save that for another live. Let's continue with the audio.
He was going to call someone out, and now he doesn't know if he's going to call them out anymore. Well, he never actually called anyone out. He also said that this may have added a few more fights to his, to his career, that maybe he's not going to retire after all.
So I just wanted y'all to hear that from Ariel Helwani, because I like how that was a 2-part, you know what I'm saying? And him trying to dress up and play the part, and increasing his knowledge on boxing. There's still some work to be done, but let's get back to what people considered a rigid, the rigid areas of boxing when it comes to the whether it has a moral compass or not. If you ask me, do I believe boxing has a moral compass? Nah. It doesn't. It's too many times, year after year, that there's controversy concerning a fight that matters. Depending on who the fighter is, that controversy will be at their table. And they don't have to clean it after the end of the day. They serve this fighter that benefits from the controversy a nice 7-course meal. And that fighter says, thank you, thank you, thank you. And once they're done, the fighter that the controversy slapped the fuck in the face and they get the bad end, they're the ones that's eating the scraps. They're the ones that's eating the leftovers. They have to wake up Sunday, Monday, Tuesday after being fucked over by another controversial decision or an action by a referee or the 3 judges. It's happened too many times. Why are you all continuing to get upset like this is all brand new? You all the ones that's acting foolish out here. You acting like you not even, after all the controversy, you act like you're numb to the abuse now. Boxing been slapping the shit out of you the whole fucking time, kicking you in the nuts, all that shit. And then you turn around and act like every time there's a bit of controversy, oh, this seemed familiar, but I can't put a cheekbone on it. And this was still swollen. Boxing, man, they keep on slapping the shit out of me. This was still swollen a little bit. Can you give me some ice? Boxing continue to slap the shit out you. But y'all act like it's a brand new slap. These motherfuckers weren't going for Lamont Roach. But yet they acting like they coming to his aid to shit on Tank even more. It's the system's fault as to why Tank Davis' knee wasn't accounted as a knockdown. The system of boxing slaps fight fans in the face every freaking year with a controversial outcome, with a fight that semi-matters to the public. It's called puppetizing the media, y'all. That's what we have to do. It's unpredictable. We go through puppetizing the boxing fans and the community all the fucking time. It deals with the betting odds. It deals with betting on the fights. That's how they continue to maneuver and navigate through these freaking turbulent streets, through all the deceit, the dark alleys, the ominous freaking results, the maliciousness. This is what boxing does all the damn time, every freaking year. They keep us interested based off controversy. But when you break down scenarios and provide them, and give them a, your reasoning for the evidence, the evidence for your argument, the reason why you want to debate. I just don't have time to bring people out of orbit. I mean, bring your ass back down here to earth. You up here floating around looking stupid. I don't want to be down there. I don't know what's going on down there in that boxing universe down there on earth. I don't know about that. I'm just gonna float around up here. It's hard to breathe, but I'm just gonna enjoy my quiet time up here. It's not up to me to bring your ass down from orbit to this freaking earth and goddamn face your fears. A lot of us have favorite fighters. In some divisions, it's fierce opposition. This type of shit has happened over and over again. So it's up to the system, the New York State Athletic Commission. It's up to them on whether they select to reverse this. And this is going to be huge now, because if they reverse it to a no contest, what does it do? It sets up a rematch. For me, that would be the most logical decision, where fight fans are going to be, once again, puppetized into supporting a rematch. Oh man, that was controversial right there. What you feel about a no contest? Okay, if they do a no contest, then there's going to be huge question marks. I'm talking about tall, heavy, huge structures of question marks as to why it should be a no contest, based off the mistake of a technical difficulty which delayed the replay of determining within the fight, within the 12 rounds, if it was deemed a knockdown. That is going to be the second line of defense. How can it be a no contest if that's what they see? And then 3, boxing may just leave it alone. I don't think so. I would rather them go to number 4 or 1. Number 4, they reverse it and give Lamont Roach his win. That is the final one. Number 4, that's the final one, because he did nothing wrong. Just like when he was leading up to this fight, Lamont Roach did nothing wrong. He defeated a previous common opponent of Tank Davis in dominating fashion to pick up the title. That's what he did. He did nothing wrong. Leading up to the fight, respect. He did nothing wrong. He didn't push Tank. He didn't do any of that. Tank didn't disrespect him. None of that. But when it comes to number 1, if they select to make it a no contest, now people are going to go off the performance value of the first fight to basically grandfather the rematch in with a different percentage or level or temperament to say, yes, I'm interested based off what I seen Lamont Roach do to him the first time. People are going to be doing the same thing. The Devin Haney Lomachenko fight. I thought so-and-so won. I thought so-and-so won that fight. It's not ever not going to be a reason for them to go back in the past and bring up comparing fights to justify their decision on how they're going to approach supporting the rematch. How will boxing fans posture going into this rematch based off those 2 scenarios? If they change to a no contest, then they say, okay, we want to see a rematch even more. If Lamont Roach is handed a win and Tank a loss, then they're going to want to see the rematch. It's some people who's going to say, They're gonna send Lamont Roach all these freaking tweets and say, you don't have to. If I were you, I wouldn't face him again. Do him like he did Shakur. Hey, it's not gonna take long, right? It's not gonna take long for them to say, do him like he did everybody else. He don't want to fight Shakur. He don't want to fight T.O. He don't want to fight Devin. He don't want to fight Lomachenko. He don't want to fight Keisha. Hey, you know it's coming. Y'all know it's coming. But when you talk about controversy and corruption, those two C words in boxing, man, get out of here, man. This is always going to be in attendance. These two words are always going to be in attendance. How many times have we seen a draw be controversial? Canelo Alvarez, Gennady Golovkin. How many times? Hamzat Shiraz, Carlos Adames. How many times? It's just over there in Riyadh season. Who are they going to go to and with all that money that's being filtered out over there? All that money that's being filtered out over there, who's going to question Hamzat Shiraz and Carlos Adames? Who? Is that going to be on the review? Because clearly Adames won the fight. Is that going to be on the review? No, because they want to keep them pockets heavy. They want to keep them lumpy pockets. They want to keep them waterways cleared. Let the oil flow right into my bank account. This is a viral slap in the face of the community of boxing. Real talk. No ifs, ands, or buts. This is a mega slap in the face, y'all. I don't feel no type of way about the people that feel. Look, let me break something down, right? I don't feel no type of way about how people feel that the knockdown wasn't called. I feel some type of way about who they're blaming for the reason the knockdown wasn't called. You clearly are ignoring the process you're supposed to take in figuring this out. You ignoring it. All you want to do is act like it's Tank's fault that Steve Willis didn't call the knockdown. It was the referee and the commission, the judging. It was the staff. It was the higher ups that neglected to pay attention, to make sure all the equipment was working the way it's supposed to. It was their fault. It was their fault. They're going to have to go behind the scenes and try to figure out if there really was a technical issue. They're going to have to unpack it. They're going to have to go through the discovery process to try to figure out if those particular individuals are being honest. Come on, man. What's on the surface doesn't mean that's what's beneath. It's a lot of shit that happen in deeper waters, man, that we don't never see. If they want you to see a rubby ducky up on that motherfucker floating around and get your attention, that's what they'll do. It's just a distraction. Just because they say it's on the further review, the real ones should look at it like, okay, give them time to figure it out, and let's see what boxing presents. If they're going to call the no contest, okay, all right. Okay. They still have a rematch locked in. That's my whole deal. When it comes to the documentation and paperwork, they have a rematch locked in. Period. Let me get to the chat. Shout out to everyone in the chat. BG, I see you. Mike in the building, what's good? See you. Arnold. Stickum Boys Fishing and Sports, what's good? I think they're going to overturn the fight. Hey, if they overturn the fight, I feel no type of way. You feel me? Because that was their dereliction of duty. When the cameras was hot and the show was rolling, The entire show, I'm talking about the fight card, everything. The discovery process of whoever's in going and conducting an investigation, they have to try to figure out if it really was a technical issue or they pretty much didn't want any type of controversy to spread over into the fight with all those people there, and then chaos erupts. Barclay is known for throwing. The Barclay is known for getting busy now, getting active. The Barclay is known, Brooklyn is known to get active inside. Bathrooms, you know what I'm saying? Under the ring, out the ring. You know, we seen what happened in Florida. Them motherfuckers in the ring fighting. Jack Reese didn't take a vacation either. Talk to him, BG. Jack Reese didn't take no vacation for the spirit that was in the spirit of the Holy Spirit. He didn't take a vacation. I was cool with the Mont Roach fight. I just said Tank better call out a top fighter next. Well, we'll see. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Mike in the building. Yeah, they're not about to overturn the fight. They're probably ordering an immediate rematch, and Roach will have to make it more decisive this time, with no question. I think that makes a lot of sense, but really, I don't want to lean on the side of bias, just to hope, because like I said, I don't dislike Roach at all. I met the dude, very respectful, raised right, you know, his people, all that. He's a good dude. Anybody over here, look, the way they was shitting on Roach, man, it's just uncalled for. It's just uncalled for. I seriously thought Tank was gonna knock him out, but that's not the shit on him. That's boxing talk. But these cats was shitting on him big time. They was talking ill. They was denigrating the shit out of Roach heading into this fight just because he was at a lower division. And then he looked bigger than Tank did in the fight. So maybe and hopefully that's a area that these community of boxing fans who's intoxicated off negativity, maybe they can get some rehab off this shit. Because that 130 pounder looked way bigger than Tank in that freaking fight this past Saturday. You know what I'm saying? Way bigger. But we'll see what the commission selects to do. Next year or two will show who the top dog will be. Y'all feel they're going to do something about it? They said Roach was a cherry pick. Now Tank is overrated. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, man? The switch up is golden, ain't it? Woo. The switch up is everything that you would want from boxing fans. Perfect. That's well said. Roach was a cherry pick. You know what I'm saying? Just like him bringing up fighters from lower division, cherry pick. But they don't get on Barrios for doing the exact same thing. Tank is really a 130 pounder. But Barrios brings Tank up for a title fight. And no one is crapping on Barrios like that. But just because they're feeling some type of way about Tank not conforming to who they want him to fight, they was crapping on Lamont Roach for no damn reason. They was really treating this guy outside of boxing like he wasn't shit in life. I mean, I'm pretty sure Roach people was, telling him about it. He was reading himself. But man, this dude don't deserve no criticism. He fought the fight. I didn't think the performance was genuine, in my opinion, from Tank. But when it comes to Tank being over here and that Riyadh season shit, one thing I'm waiting on is how they're gonna talk and speak on the numbers. You know what I'm saying? I just can't wait to see how they bring that up for conversation. I want to know what that appointment is going to be like when the numbers come out. You know, because I'm hearing he sold out the Barclays. Okay. But I want to see, you know, what is pending right now with Tank possibly, you know, whatever they decide on that decision, and then with the numbers. You know what I'm saying? The numbers. What criticism is Tank going to get for the numbers? Because yes, it does seem like inclement weather right now for Tank. Absolutely. It's gonna be a shitty situation for a minute, because this is what boxing does, bro. And the tip of the sword always cut deep when it comes to boxing, bro. They always have us up here bleeding out based off controversial, corrupt, shady, sneaky decisions that we consider them to be easy. You know, we consider it to be easy. Somebody take a knee, it's a knockdown, right? But no, you know, they sit up there and they stop the count, all because a fighter, you know, says something to him, goes over there and wipe his face. Who does that? Only other fighter I seen do that was Joshua. Joshua called his own timeout, walked over there because he was getting beat up. He walked over there because Tate was coming loose, and took his own breather and told his corner, you know, hey, fix this for me. He over there talking. The referee just let Joshua do what he want. But that's the BBBOC, right? That's not over here. Now we have to see once again the athletic commission that's been hot in the last year and a half. New York. They have to make another decision, another post-fight decision. And I would like to know what the changes are going to be, if any. There going to be some changes. If they come out and say, you know, we looked at it and it's not going to be any changes. Well, who do they have to answer to? Who if they decide to slap you in the face again with a piece of plywood, who is the New York State Athletic Commission going to answer to in a non-regulated sport? Who? I'm just curious. Let the owls come and roost. Who are they going to answer to? And then if they do make a decision and it award Lamont Roach a win, then that will basically placate these boxing fans to look forward to the rematch, talk mad shit about Tank taking an L like no other fighter has ever taken an L again. And it will pretty much set the stage, just like people want, for the rematch, for them to go in there and see if Tank can gain his title back. It puts Tank in a situation that he's never been in before. He goes into a fight, and he hasn't been in this situation, I mean, in a long time. I wouldn't say before, in a long time, as a challenger. We don't know what's going to happen. It's based off assumptions. You know what I'm saying? It's based off critical thinking. It's based off looking at footage of the fight. But we don't know what these commissions, we don't know if it's orders, you know, if they knew all along and it's the orders. We don't know any of that. Serious. We don't know. Unfortunately. Shakur looked like money in that interview. Yeah. He said he got that Saudi money. You know what I'm saying? I'm not mad about a guy who's saying that he got the most money in his career. I'm not mad at all. Why not? Dude went to the damn jeweler Shakur said that's the most money he ever. Man, I ain't mad at that, bro. Because when your career is over, and I don't think Shakur is gonna have a long career, he has to have enough money so he won't return to the sport, bro. When he's over the hill, I don't want to see him as old as I'm gonna be. I don't want to see Shakur coming back, and I'm like, that can't be. That's Stevenson. God damn, he's 45 and coming back. Oh my God. I don't want to see that shit. I want him to make as much money so when it's time to get out, he stay out. Get out and stay out. But hopefully y'all understand, you know what I'm saying, that this is going to be the talk for the next several days. Seriously. This is going to be the talk the next several days, man, on what decision will they render? Is it going to be anything that's going to spark up fairness in boxing? You know what I'm saying? Fairness. Not just a fight happening and the right fighter won. We're talking about fairness when it's a testament of challenge and controversy. Isn't that what they say? Is the challenge, when it comes to a man itself, is not what you do in comfort and convenience, but doing challenge and controversy. Well, this is another case where boxing has the opportunity to step up and show us what's going to be the outcome. What is your decision going to be when it deals with challenge and controversy? Are you going to overturn it to a no contest? Are you going to award Lamont Roach the fight? That'd be huge. I mean, if Lamont Roach be awarded the fight all because they looking at it in 2020 hindsight and say, this is the process we're going to go off of. If the knockdown would have been scored a 10-8 round, we're looking at, he would have won the fight. But then again, I know there's human beings out there that should look at it and say, well, if that would have been scored a knockdown, we don't know how Tank would have responded. There's two sides to processing information. I can't say up here and tell you that I know for a fact they're going to go off my theory of how Tank would have responded. It's easy for them to go off with everything said from round 1 to round 12. If you insert or include that knockdown, a 10-8 round would have definitely won Lamont Roach to fight. It depends on who's in the room, yo. It depends on who's at the table. It depends on who's conversing and bouncing these thoughts off one another. Who's in there for the deliberation? Who? That's what it depends. Who? You know, the man, Tank, has been there to fight several times already. It's not like the man don't have no pull. You know what I'm saying? Tank has pull over there. He's been over there several times and made them money. But then again, boxing can turn around and remind you of who they truly are. You know what I'm saying? They can come up here and say there will be no change to the decision. And who gonna hold them accountable? Boxing media can't hold them accountable. You know what I'm saying? Boxing media, they can't hold them. They don't have pull like that. All they can do is complain, talk, you know what I'm saying? Cry about shit that they don't have no power to change. And then they'll be going back in the past. Hey, you remember when Tank did this and they didn't call him, they said it was something in his eye? What if you have somebody in the room that takes that in consideration of a possibility as to why it was beneficial for Tank to take a knee? And then you might have another person say, okay, if he took a knee, now we need to figure out if a punch landed that affected him to force him to take that knee. That's going to be looked at too with all that footage that they have over there. They're going to look at the punches because there's so many people up here talking about, oh, he landed 2 or 3 punches and Tank took a knee. Hey, man. Boxing media love line. They love gossip. They love creating their own opinionated narratives based off whether they favor or unfavor a fighter. That's all. That's all. For real. But man, shout out to the hottest chat in the MFN game. Appreciate your support as always. Continue to support, and we should do it again. I'm out.